The Gothic novel, The Sublime and the Road to Frankenstein. Hello everyone and welcome back to Teach and Wish. In the previous parts of this lesson, we explored the origins of the Gothic novel, its historical context, and some of its main conventions. We also discussed Horace Walpole, Anne Radcliffe, and Matthew Gregory Lewis. Now we need to understand one of the most important ideas between the Gothic imagination, the sublime. In the 18th century, the sublime became one of the most important aesthetic concepts in Europe. In 1757, Edmund Burke, in a philosophical inquiry into the origins of our ideas of sublime and beautiful, distinguished between the beautiful and the sublime. The beautiful is connected with harmony, proportion, delicacy, balance, and pleasure. The sublime, however, is different. It is connected with vastness, obscurity, danger. It is connected with power and infinity, and terror. It overwhelms us, it makes us feel small in front of something immeasurably greater than ourselves. Think of a ship caught in a violent storm, of a traveler standing before a glacier or a precipice, a human figure almost lost in an immense mountain landscape. Think of the night sky, where infinity becomes visible and the individual suddenly feels fragile. This is the sublime. It frightens us, but it also elevates us. It produces awe, a mixture of fear, wonder, and admiration. In visual art, the sublime becomes especially important in romantic painting. A famous example is Caspar David Friedrich's Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog. In this painting, a solitary man stands on a rocky height and looks over a vast landscape covered by mist. The figure is central, but he is also small when compared with the immensity before him. The painting suggests both human aspiration and human limitation. We can also think of Friedrich's Monk by the Sea, where a tiny human figure stands before an enormous sea and sky. The scene is almost empty, but it creates a powerful sense of solitude and infinity, and also metaphysical anxiety. In English art, J.M.W. Turner often transforms storms, shipwrecks, fire, and atmospheric violence into sublime visions. Nature is not calm or decorative, it becomes energy, chaos, and force. The sublime is also central to Immanuel Kant's Critique of Judgment, published in 1790. Kant distinguishes between the beautiful, which gives us a sense of harmony, and the sublime, which arises when imagination fails to grasp something too vast or too powerful. Yet, according to Kant, this failure also reveals the superiority of reason. Kant belonged to the Enlightenment, we must remember that. Physically, we feel small, morally and intellectually, however, we discover something greater within ourselves. This is extremely important for the Gothic. Gothic fiction does not use frightening places merely to create atmosphere. These elements force human beings to confront what exceeds them: nature, history, death, and the unknown. So the movement from terror to the sublime is a movement from simple fear to philosophical reflection. The Gothic reader is not only frightened, the reader is invited to think about human fragility, the limits of reason, the force of imagination, and the mystery of existence. This is why the Gothic is so close to Romanticism. But Gothic and Romantic literature are both Gothic and Romantic literature are interested in emotion, imagination, nature, and the experience of what lies beyond rational control. At this point, we are ready to understand why Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is such a revolutionary work. Shelley inherits some elements of the Gothic tradition, such as terror and isolation, secrecy, transgression, moral anxiety, and sublime landscapes. But she also transforms them. The source of horror is no longer an ancient curse, a haunted mansion, or a tyrannical aristocrat. In Frankenstein, horror emerges from modern science, intellectual ambition, and the desire to cross the limits of nature. The laboratory replaces the medieval fortress, the scientist replaces the traditional villain, and the creature replaces the ghost. And the central question becomes much more modern. What happens when knowledge is separated from responsibility? Are we ready to take responsibility for what we create? In the next video, we will focus on the originality of Frankenstein. We will see why Mary Shelley breaks the rules of the Gothic, how she invents a new kind of monster, and why her novels still speak so powerfully to our world of science, technology, and artificial intelligence. If you found this lesson useful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to Teach and Wish for more lessons on English literature and language. Goodbye.